Hey, how you guys doing? This is Tony Valor with TVI Records and Filmworks, and today we are filming my first official podcast. I'm very excited to talk about this one with you guys, share my thoughts and ideas. I actually went ahead and I posted this on my social medias, and I got a lot of questions and pinpointers from my followers and fans regarding what they wanted me to cover. I will do my best to cover as much ground as I can. For those questions that I'm going to be missing out on, please don't hesitate to subscribe to my YouTube channel, my Podbean, all of the above, and you guys will see that on the next podcast, I promise. So let's get right into it. Today's episode is going to be about my life as a CEO running a record label. I like to go by 4 fundamentals. Discipline, very important, obviously, in anything you put your mind to. Strategy. Sustainability. I cannot stress that one enough. Self-education. It's up to you to hone and own the game you want to get into. Live by it and die by it. That's simple. Of course, it can get tough, like anything you try to pursue in life, any big dream or any vision you have. For me, I love this shit. I got to rush off the pressure. I got to rush off the tough shit, and it's just something that I look forward to. Of course, at times, that pressure is going to get real, and that's when you need to keep your eye on the ball, never lose your focus, and maintain your sustainability, your drive, that same energy that you had 2-3 days ago, whatever it is. It needs to be consistent. It needs to be there every single day, your plan, the action you take, all that good stuff. So I want to get into the questions that were asked to me when I had mentioned this podcast on social media. One of them says, some of the gear you got in your studio, what softwares you use would be interesting. For one, right next to me, I have the Control 24 Digi Design board that was designed for Pro Tools. This board is a dinosaur. I mean, damn near 20 years old. It's been through hell and back on me. Pro Tools is my preferred production software. As they say, it's the godfather of all softwares kind of thing. But for me, it's the only thing I've ever known how to use. Honestly, I've always made, mixed, and mastered all my music on Pro Tools. It was a little difficult to learn at first, I got to say. But once you get the hang of it, forget it. There's no stopping your creativity or how far it is that you want to go. So as far as my music making instruments, I use the Arturia as my keyboards. I use the Virus. It's a physical hardware plugin that you use to make your sound designs, and you can manipulate it. I personally like to use the physical stuff because you maintain the humanizing imperfection that you want to try to achieve in your track or your transition or that warmth that you're going for. For my producers, I'm pretty sure you guys know what that means. The Hum Eliminator. It's another piece of physical hardware I use for my mastering. It's got a lot of cool presets. You can manipulate it. It's like a analog plugin. They're pretty cool. It's been around for a very long time, but, it still gets the job done today, so I'm proud of that. For my listening speakers or monitors, for lack of a better word, I use NS10s. I also use Oratones. But importantly, believe it or not, I use a shitty radio speaker to mix. Why? Because, well, logically, if it sounds good in a crappy speaker, it's going to sound good anywhere else, And it really works, and it's amazing. As long as you make it sound good on that crappy speaker, you're going to make it sound like $1 million anywhere else, So that's another strategy that I use to really nail my music when I'm mixing and mastering. In the digital world, I use a lot of Refix Nexus. I love the sound banks. I love their sound expansions. It's amazing, I love using Mini Monster for basses. Forget it. You can get the best bottom sounds through Mini Monster like no tomorrow. I really recommend it if you're a producer and you want to learn, or if you're already using a different kind of plugin for your basses. I would recommend using Mini Monster. It's really, really good. Next question. How do you overcome personal challenges in the industry? Well, there's a lot of personal challenges that you're gonna face as you're going through the motions. But I gotta say, at first, learning how to market and promote can be a bitch if you're doing it by yourself. For a fun fact, I make most of the music that comes out of this label. I produce most of it. I mix it. I master it. Only till recently, I have now 4 artists signed that cover many different genres. and that brought TVI to a different plateau. TVI was just pop R&B, and now we got rap, hip hop, gangster rap, reggae, Afrobeat, Latin, urban, reggaeton, you name it. So I'm really proud that we were able to expand on our vision due to the different styles of music that we're able to produce now. However, with that comes a lot of demand, comes a lot of labor, especially on my end, since I've started their careers by making their music. Now that we're a couple of years in, I have decided to become a little bit more efficient, so I need help. Shout out to Zeth Beats. He makes most of Gabby B's beats and music. He's really good. I just go in there and I do my little thing, and do the little touches. Shout out to DB the Plug. He has done most of Judan's album and most of my album that's coming up, actually. He's a really good producer. Shout out to him. How are you and your artist unique compared to what's out there now? That's an awesome question. I love it. We are obviously fans of a lot of artists out there today and back then. We tried to bring some familiar vibes, to the game, but also we like to put our own little unique touch to it, our own little concept. And at some point, it sounds original. But if you're really trying to come up with something original, something no one's ever heard before, you're not copying anything, that's when you're really gifted. And I like to say that TVI has a couple of those. So check out our music, check out our website, tvirecords.com, and you can get most of our catalog from there. Next question. Fatherhood plus all other responsibilities. I love this question. It can be tough, I gotta say, but nothing stops you from being a father, at least for me. You gotta be there for your kid no matter what. You gotta make it happen. Sometimes you're only on 2 hours sleep, 1 hour sleep. It is what it is. You gotta do your daddy duty and you gotta put food on the table. That's basically as far as I'll go with that one. Says, the instant change of life when God blesses you with an angel. Man, I love this question. Shout out to you, Jay. You know who I'm talking about. I gotta say, as a man, you could train 10 years for a skill or for a profession, and you'll change over time. But this changes a man from one moment to the next. I can't even explain it. It's instant, And to my viewers who are parents, fathers, mothers, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's amazing. It makes you look at life differently. It makes me want to work harder. As tired as I am, I want to give the best life I can to my baby. And shout out to my wife. She's been very supportive of my career and the moves that I've made and the risks that I've taken. And she stood by me, and thank God I have a woman like her by my side to raise a beautiful angel. That's basically what I got to say about that one. This one says, who is Judan and where the fuck he come from? That motherfucker from Hialeah. I'm going to start with that one. He got the whole thing tatted on his neck. But it's an interesting story how it happened. I had a falling out with another artist. Anyway. And Judan was just kind of at the right place at the right time. I liked his attitude. I liked his vibe. And I said, hey, yo, rap for me. Come to the studio real quick. And he hopped on the track. I liked it. And we shot a video literally the next 2 days. And I'm proud to say that video has over 220,000 views. Check it out on YouTube. Judan, Lemon Wrist is popping. It's a really good video. I like to think it's one of the best videos that TVI has ever produced. And I mean that. I truly mean that. So check that out. And yeah, let's get to the next one. Says, I haven't seen you post about your MC crew in a while. Would love to hear more about that. I'm not going to really get into that one in this podcast. I only brought it up because I'll be talking about it on my next podcast. But you already know the vibe. Shit. Most wanted for life, 1323. We'll get to the next question now. Your number's been going up. Congrats. Talk about the process and struggles. Well, like I had mentioned, self-education and self-research has a big role to do with that. It's important to know the game that you're in. We're in a digital age now, and it's up to you to learn how to monetize on that. In many professions, actually, if it applies. But for the most part, with COVID and the pandemic going on, it's more than important for you to get a little bit of education on how the digital world works and how it is that it's progressing, because it's helped a lot with the way that I make my money. Believe it or not, we deal in music. At the end of the day, it's intellectual property, and it comes with data, and you can monetize on that. And if you learn how to, work that out the proper way, then you can make money from your music. The struggles was honestly spending the money to learn certain things and not getting the money back. The constant, this business is cutthroat. You're going to come across a lot of people that just aren't honest. It is what it is, but it's up to you to take that as a lesson and learn from it, or you let it basically break you. So that answers that question. This one says, I love the video Unexplainable. Please talk about how you came together with Isabel. Thank you. I'm also proud to say that Unexplainable has almost 1 million views. Let's get it. I'm really proud of our hard work and the progress that we've accomplished. How I met Isabel is crazy. Her team knew someone in my team that was trying to work a deal in Asia, and they had brought it to my attention. We exchanged contact information, and we got to communicating with each other, and we just ended up talking about wanting to do 2 songs, 2 videos. I flew over to the Philippines, and that's exactly what we did, and that's how that happened, so to answer that question. Okay, it says, you are an artist and producer. Talk about your role as a CEO. To get a little bit more in depth with that, the role as a CEO, you got to overlook a lot of different departments. Like you got PR, AR, management, production, down to engineering, down to, just any aspect that requires a record label to function. And especially if you have a catalog, you got to do like a lot of what they call metadata. That's a lot of numbers, and it's a lot of tedious work. And that's just on one end, you got to make important decisions every day. A lot of departments ask about the budgets they can use to proceed on an idea, and you got to say either yes or no or maybe. Sometimes you got to make the decision right away because the opportunity is so good. It's a lot of different variables that can be included as a CEO, but overall, it's a lot of pressure because on the same token, I do music for myself as an artist, and I produce for many artists as well. I would like to make a little bit more music than I usually do just on me as an artist. But the demand calls for the demand and the time calls for the time. So I do what I need to do up until we get to the next plateau as a record label and we can move forward. And that basically covers the questions I wanted to go over for this particular podcast. I like to conclude this podcast with a couple of words of inspiration. If you got big dreams, you want to do some wild shit, and no matter who's around you, your loved ones, your best friends, whoever it is, and they tell you you can't do it, even yourself, do it and go. Go and do whatever it is that you want to go do. Because remember this, hard work beats talent. And I conclude this podcast with that. TVI.